Hello, and welcome to the Collaboration Conversation, a listener-supported video podcast where Christian artists, entrepreneurs, and friends share about their upcoming projects and how they are using the gifts and talents that God has given them. This podcast is only made possible through generous listeners and friends like you, and we are so very grateful to our supporters. If you would like to sponsor an episode, head on over to thecollaborationconversation.org and click Sponsor an Episode. Likewise, if you want to check out or support our nonprofit ministry project Brickworks, you can head over to projectbrickworks.org. Today is such a cool day. I love this. I'm so excited. Usually, as you guys know, either it's just the two of us talking or it's the two of us and a guest, but today we have two guests.
Teenage guests.
Today is our teenage episode. Oh,
yep.
Teenage. I was trying to think of like a cool song to call it, but I can't think. Like "Smells Like Teen Spirit" was all I could think of, but we're not gonna go with that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's a good idea.
Today our first guest is Colton Mangram. Colton is a freshman at Renaissance High School. We have known his family since forever, and we love the Mangrams. He also has an older brother, Brady. Colton is a talented musician and artist, among other things, and we are so excited to have him here with us today. Colton, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Tell us a little bit about where you are right now, because it is very impressive.
So I'm in my studio right now. As you can see, I have my drums back there and my guitars back there.
So cool.
So we did this like about a year ago.
Okay.
And it's been really helpful to record and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Did you already have most of the equipment, just not the room, like the dedicated room?
Yeah. My drums have been like in the basement, like changing rooms, and we didn't really know where to put them. So finally we have a spot for them. So
that is awesome. And so it helps with recording, obviously. And I see it's super soundproof. So I'm sure it helps your parents not hear it all day, every day. Mm-hmm. That is so cool.
Well, and it's probably a little bit important to mention that your dad's a musician too. And so there are times when he'll play bass for you, right? And you guys...
That's actually his bass right there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So yeah, that's nice whenever the parent is passing down that love. And I think you guys go to a lot of concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite bands or shows that you've been to?
So my first concert I ever went to was Foo Fighters.
Yes.
And it was
good
amazing.
choice.
My favorite bands are My Chemical Romance. There's this really small band called Atlas. It's a Christian rock band that I love. That most of my music is actually a lot like that because I don't know. I really like that band, but it's really, really small. Not a lot of people know about it. And recently I've been getting into Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I'm going to see their concert like next year.
So cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that you gave a shout out to your favorite band. That's awesome.
Well, so as we kind of get started with all of this, tell us about yourself and your family and going to school and all that.
So I'm a Christian from Fairview, obviously. My family, we like to go on vacations a lot. So we go every summer. We go to Florida, like mostly. So we usually go to either the beach or Disney World.
Love that.
Or Universal. So we really like to travel. And my brother plays baseball, so we travel for that a lot too. And it's sometimes we're like really busy traveling places, but
you are, yes.
It's been really fun. So
a very busy family. That's very cool.
Well, now, aren't you at an art school?
Yeah.
So that's got to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot different than my middle school was, Fairview Middle, and it's a lot different than Fairview High School, and it's the grading process or how they grade stuff is a lot different and it's hard to get used to, but I think I'm getting used to it. And everything's kind of built around creative people and stuff like that. So it's really, I fit into the school really well. So
that is very cool. I remember, this is how old I am. I feel like I remember when Renaissance High School like became a thing.
Yeah.
And how, like, do you have to audition to get into that school? How does that work? Do you just request to go?
Yeah, so you like sign this thing online, and they're like, okay, then you can come tour the place this time, and then you do like a
Like an interview?
interview.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not really an interview, but it's kind of like a group of people, like a group of kids that are signing in to join, and they just basically talk about the school and stuff like that.
Okay.
Talk about them, and afterward they send you an email to if you're going to get in or not. And it's like a certain amount of people for each school.
Yep.
And yeah,
That's so cool.
That is awesome.
I wish I had gone to an art school. It's fine.
I know.
I'm fine.
Well, you went to an arts college.
No, it's fine.
Eventually. So, what you might not know is Colton is on the rotation at our church on the worship band. So he plays drums every other week, every third week, that kind of thing.
Very nice.
And my husband, Billy, your dad, is
Yes.
one of the guitar players.
I know him.
He loves when you play.
Aw.
He's like, okay, this is, it's a good energy. So do you like that? Do you like being part of that?
I love playing. For a while I was like, I hadn't played there because I had been playing other places with School of Rock, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And I really wanted to play at church because it would give me an opportunity to show my love for the Lord. And I'd never really had that. So when I started, I really, really enjoyed it. I still really enjoy it. It's a good place to do that.
That's
really
awesome.
fun.
So would you, I mean, I know you're a well-rounded musician, even at, just as a freshman in high school, but do you prefer the drums over guitar, or are you like, is Billy in trouble? Like you're going to be taking his job someday on guitar?
I've been playing drums for most of my life now. And I've been playing guitar for 2 or 3 years. So I have more experience with drums.
Right.
And so it's like, you can't really it's not the same. You can't really decide which one, but
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense.
sometimes I play guitar a lot more than drums. So I enjoy guitar more. And
Okay.
then sometimes I play drums a lot more than guitar.
That makes sense.
So it kind of differs.
That's awesome. Very well rounded. You utility player. You can play anything.
Yeah.
I love that. That's very cool. Well, you just mentioned School of Rock. What is that? Tell us about that.
So it's a place where it's a program that kids, teenagers mostly, can play together, play music together, and we practice for about like 6 months around there, and then we go perform at a couple places that the songs we learn. And so far I've played at a few small places in Nashville. I played at Top Golf, the little place they have there. And I've also played at the Ryman, which is one of the best moments of my life.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, that was amazing. I only got to play one song, but just the fact that I played at the Ryman when I was this young is amazing. I love it.
That's so cool.
And yeah, it's my first place I played drums at was really small. It's called Roots. And you don't really play with a band. You just play by yourself and with a song. It was a good starter for like kids and stuff. But then I transitioned into School Rock that I played with a band, and it was a good starter for like all the music stuff I'm in now. So
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Just to follow up though, so this would be like the band that you're in is a young lady or male, young girl or boy who is like you, but they want to sing, and then somebody who wants to play guitar, and somebody wants to play bass. Right? So they put a bunch of you, somewhat new to this together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's so cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
To create the whole band.
they also
Okay.
have it's not just like one drummer, one bass, one guitar, blah blah blah. It's like a ton of drummers can join one group, and a ton of other things can join. And it's like they switch who plays each song.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
So it's like it's not one drummer playing the whole show. It kind of like switches back and forth, and it's really cool.
That is cool.
That's awesome.
That sounds like so much fun. Also, I love the movie School of Rock. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I was like, please tell me that you've seen this movie because
I've also seen the play School of Rock.
Yeah,
and it was really cool. Yeah,
that is so cool. That's awesome.
Well, so obviously your mom and I are friends, and we're friends on Facebook, and she posts your artwork. So not only are you a musician, but you're a very talented artist. How did you get started with that?
Well, preschool, I started, with all the crayons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've always liked drawing, and it just, from scribbling and stuff like that in preschool, I just did it like all the time. And there was never really a starting point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to draw and I'm going to like get really good at it. I've always just like built up like since preschool to now. And I took art lessons, like classes and stuff in Nashville. I took that like last summer. I took 2, and that was really helpful. And then my teacher in middle school, she was amazing, Miss Vinci. I give a lot of credit to her because she helped me along the way with my art.
Yeah.
And yeah,
That's very cool.
That's so cool. We're gonna show some of your artwork on the screen while you talk about it. But what do you kind of gravitate towards? What kind of art is it? Sketching is. I think you do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So I enjoy drawing on paper with pencil. Usually, like, I mean, it doesn't matter, but mechanical pencil, just black and white. I don't really like colored pencils. I'm sure I will get into that, but it's kind of difficult for me right now. And I also really enjoy digital, like graphics design stuff, and digital painting stuff. And I started that like 4 years ago, I think. And I got new like equipment stuff for that.
Sweet.
And that's been really helpful. And just, yeah, so there's the digital part of everything, which is usually just digital painting and stuff.
Okay.
Sometimes I like to do logos for people. And so I do like stuff like that for people, but usually it's just, just like digital painting stuff. And then the paper side of things is usually just sketches.
Okay.
But sometimes I like to do something really like realistic, but yeah.
That's so cool. Well, I wanted to ask you, I can tell by the room you're in and by the way that we've talked about your parents and the way that I know that they have supported Brady as well. But it's we're very lucky, you and I, to have parents that find what we're good at and want to encourage us in that and cultivate that and to and do that. And so I just wanted to see if you had anything you wanted to share about your parents and how they've kind of helped you figure out what you're good at and then help you, encourage you in that.
Yeah. My parents are very, push everything I do. And I'm really thankful for that because they let me do all the lessons, drum lessons, guitar lessons, stuff like that. And the art classes stuff, and then put money into this and all my drums and guitars and stuff, and my iPad, which I do digital stuff on. And they're really supportive of everything, and I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference. In our lives. So thanks, moms and dads who are listening and supporting.
We kind of call that train up a child.
Yeah.
When the parent's very intentional. And they're doing the same thing with Brady, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys he's
with baseball.
Excels at baseball, and you guys are on the road all the time with travel ball. So
yeah, very cool.
Yeah. His parents are spectacular.
Awesome. Well, another thing, as we mentioned to you earlier, our podcast is all about talents and gifts. And we believe that God has given us uniquely, each person, a unique set of talents and gifts. And it's our responsibility to collaborate with God and use those talents and gifts to build what we call our brick that he's going to use to build his kingdom. So we all get our brick that we get to build, and we're responsible for building that. And the point of it is to share Jesus, right? To share Jesus with everybody. So I would love to hear from you what you think your talents and your gifts are.
Well, my talents and gifts are like what we discussed, the music side of things and the art side of things. And me playing at church, like I already said, I really enjoy that mainly because I get to share the Lord with people that haven't been shared. And part of me playing drums at our church is because kids my age are going to look up to me and be like, okay, I want to hang out with him. And he's like, people my age would, if they see me drumming for our church, they'd be like, well, that's cool. I should probably, pay more attention to all of this.
Yeah. Or volunteer or something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that's the big part of the music thing. And the art is, I've been, especially at my school, because there's an art program at my school, because there's at Renaissance, there's 3 academies, which is apps, arts, and audio. So apps is like it's not graphic design. It's like,
is it like computer?
It sounds like it sounds like tech.
Yeah, it's like programming stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the audio is music, which I was thinking about doing, but art I can make a my job in the future is more likely to be focused around art than music.
Okay.
So that's why I joined the art program. But at school, I have been on a lot of my projects. I have been focusing them on Christianity. And so the people in my class can see that I'm a Christian, and I'm really like, everybody, I don't care, but I'm a Christian. So
sweet.
Yeah. You're not afraid to talk to people about it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And some people at my school are like, why would you be a Christian? That's dumb, blah, blah, blah. I've had a few conversations that didn't go quite well.
That's okay.
But I think it's been going really well. Me being open about my faith at school.
Yeah.
And so the projects like recently, I've been having like Photoshop stuff.
Okay.
And so the most recent one I haven't finished. We actually just started it. It's like surrealism.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's surrealism Photoshop. So basically just take a bunch of pictures from the internet or yourself, which I'm probably going to do, but and make it surrealistic.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to do. Part of the class that I took over the summer was surrealism, and that's been really helpful. But having that is a good outlet for me to show my faith. The thing I'm doing now in this project is the surrealism part is like people look at it and they're going to be like, that's surreal. It's not, it's like the proportions are off, or it's, it's really like interesting to look at surrealism art.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing right now, I think I'm going to do a road with somebody like walking down it, and the end of the road is going to like start, the sides of the road is going to be like, normal like grass or whatever, and it's going to transition into like clouds and stuff, and it's going to symbolize my journey of faith.
Nice.
And the good part about all the projects is we have a like we write about the project and we share it with the class, and like we write what it means to us and stuff like that. So I've done one before that has to do with my Christian, thoughts or whatever.
Right.
And having that, like, where I can talk about it, like having to do with my art, talking to the whole class about it is really cool.
That's so special.
That's awesome.
Good for you.
Well, tell us about, I think you called it your defining moments.
Mm-hmm. So, probably my first defining moment of my life was being baptized at 6. And my journey really started there. And then it was, the second really defining moment was the Foo Fighters concert, which was like, didn't get me into music. I was already into music a lot, but it was like, okay, I really want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then middle school was a really hard time. And especially like the first part of it, I had a lot of, so I had to deal with anxiety and depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was really hard for me in middle school. And like just the work and stuff like that. And it was, you could really see how, God was like there with me and my family. And it's a big moment in my life that I don't like to think about, but I love like knowing where I'm at now and where I was and how God helped me through it.
Yes.
And then Fuge, my first trip to Fuge,
Yeah.
was a huge step, in my faith, and that was a huge defining moment in my life. So yeah.
Awesome. I feel like I want to see an art project about your middle school time and you remembering that God was with you that whole time. That's very special.
Well, and maybe it'll play out a little bit in your road.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was so nice to talk to you. And I think that you have such a good head on your shoulders.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that your talent and your gifts come from the Lord and like remembering to always use those talents and gifts to point others to Jesus is the fact that you already are doing that and that you already know that that's what you want to do is huge. So kudos to you and to your parents. And obviously we give God all of the glory for that. But we're just so proud of you.
Thank you.
And we're so grateful for your time. Thanks for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. And we'll see you later. Have a good rest of your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
And our next guest today is Sophie Mcdaniel. Sophie is a freshman in high school in the Middle Tennessee area. We have known Sophie's family forever. Her mom, you guys might know, her name is Becca, and we had her on the podcast 2 seasons ago, and she's also on our board of directors, and we love her very much, and we love you, Sophie, very much. You are a very talented artist, and we are so excited to chat with you today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. This is so cool.
I have to tell you, you look just like your mom. Do people tell you that a lot?
Yeah, I do, but I don't mind.
No, you shouldn't mind. I remember growing up, and it depended on which parent I was with. But if I was with my mom, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look just like your mom." And then when I was with my dad, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look just like your dad." I'm like, "Well, which is it, people?" Anyway, I just have to tell you, you look just like your mom. I might like throw a picture up of her and do like a little comparison
that would be cute.
so that people can see it.
Well, so I've recently seen you, but it is nice to see you again. How are you doing? Yeah?
I'm doing pretty good. How are y'all doing?
We're all right.
We're great. We're talking to you.
How's school?
It's going.
All right.
It's going. Freshman year, yes. So, new high school. How have you transitioned to high school from middle school?
It was a little rocky at first, but it's better now because they kind of just threw stuff at me and it's like, here, high school. Like, all right.
Great. Thanks so much.
Well, was your last year at middle school virtual? Were you online because of the pandemic?
Sort of. We like switched on and off depending on how many COVID cases there were. So for like 2 weeks we would be virtual, and then for like a month we would be in person.
Okay.
It really just depends.
Gotcha. But you are in person full time now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but isn't that still just a weird thing, right? Just that those last 2 years for you at middle school are just, I'm sure you just never knew what was happening, where were we going to be. And I think both your parents work from home, so that's kind of nice, though, that you were able to be there while they're there too.
While they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That just was funny.
That
is cool.
That is awesome.
Well, for our listeners who may not know you and who may not have listened to your mom's episode, tell us a little bit about you and your family.
I have 2 brothers and 2 dogs. I consider my dogs like my siblings.
As you should. What are their names?
So Jonah and Zeke are the humans, and then there's Happy Pants, and then there's Chewy. So
Happy
those
Pants.
are my dogs.
How did you come up with Happy Pants? I have to know.
I don't know. We were in the car driving home from like seeing her for the first time, and I don't know who brought it up, but someone was like, "What if we call her Happy?" Because she was really excited when we met her.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, "You know what? Even better, Happy Pants." And we were like, "Okay, sure."
It's stuck.
Your mom is a genius. A genius, I tell you.
Well, so you have one brother that's older, and he's at the high school with you?
Yeah, he's a junior.
Okay, a junior.
Very
and then
cool.
How old is your younger brother?
He's in 7th grade. Yeah, he's in 7th grade.
Okay,
Very nice.
very cool.
Cool. Well, we have this podcast, and this ministry that we've started is all about talents and gifts, and we believe that God has given each of us a unique group of talents and gifts, right? You might have 2 people who have similar talents and gifts, but what you have and the different gifts and talents you have is very unique and special just to you. And we believe that with that comes like a responsibility to use those talents and gifts to point others towards Jesus, right? That's the goal. That is what we are put on this earth for. And so we love talking about talents and gifts. And so I wanted to know if you had kind of figured out what some of your talents and gifts are. I know you're just a freshman in high school, so you have a lot of talents and gifts to discover in your life. But what are some of the ones that you've already discovered?
Well, I'm an artist, so I like to draw a lot, and I just have a talent for that. So I've known that since I was like 4. So.
Oh, awesome.
And then the talents that I got from the quiz thing y'all sent me, they were like shepherding, mercy showing, and serving.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think I'm very people oriented, kind of like my mom. But I have noticed that I like to help my friends towards goodness and Jesus. And
that's awesome. Well, so when you were taking that assessment and it gave you the answers, were you surprised by any of them? Or were you like, yeah, that's me?
I was kind of surprised by the mercy showing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I try to be nice to everybody, but I never associated that with mercy.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, and brothers don't count. Just kidding.
No, you can be nice to your brothers.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But that's pretty cool, though, that you're able to maybe learn something too. But, at the same time, you already knew, I'm kind of already on that wavelength with sharing with my friends.
And serving is awesome. Serving, we've talked a lot about serving and how having a servant's heart is the best leadership model that you can have.
Yeah, that's how Jesus did it.
Yeah. So that is a very special gift to have. I don't have that gift, sadly. It's not one of my top 4. I would like to have it. I would like to have it more than I have it now.
You're a good servant.
Well, thanks.
I'm hopeful, though, that as you move into high school more, your sophomore, junior, and senior year, and then even into college, now that you've done that assessment, you can be cognitive, in a situation I'm a mercy giver, so I might need to step up
extend some extra mercy here,
have some empathy for this person when maybe other people are being unkind to them, but anyway, I think it's, I didn't do a spiritual gift assessment till I was much older in life, and I wish I'd done it. I'd be paying better attention to the things that that God has given me. So
Yeah, for sure.
well, so you did mention artist, and that's pretty much why we're having you, because I've seen some of your artwork.
It's so good.
Spectacular.
Thank you.
But I was wondering, when did you well, you said 4, but was it crayons and coloring, or how did you get started, and how did you know to keep going and cultivate it?
So just when I was little, my parents were like, here's some crayons. And I was like, all right, cool. So I just drew them stuff.
Right.
And then around middle school, I was like, hey, I'm good at this. I could make real stuff. And so I started trying to get better, and it worked for a little while. And then, I started I moved to digital, and it got it grew that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy how digital can so enhance? I mean, back in the day, we didn't have digital. You just colored.
Right.
Or you sketched or painted or whatever. But that really takes your gift to a whole new level.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So one of the things we want to do while we're talking with you is show some of your artwork.
Yeah. So what inspires you, I guess? What gets you in that creative mood, so to speak?
Books specifically. I like to draw things that might be close to a book character, or even the book character itself. And also, walking in nature really helps me. So I like being in creation and just taking inspiration from that.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good answer. I find that my day job does not allow me to be outside very much, and it is detrimental to all of my health things. So being outside is awesome, and I'm so glad that you find, I mean, what better place to find inspiration from the creator than being surrounded by all of his creation, right? I mean,
well, amen to that.
Anyway, that's awesome.
Well, so where do you see yourself in a few years? What do you want to do with this? Do you have a sense of, I don't want to say what do you want to be when you grow up? I hate that question, but
what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
So I don't really know yet. I'm leaning towards architect, but I'm not sure because math.
Because math.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see
That's
how
okay.
God guides me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, amen
Good
to
answer.
that. So this is a little off subject, but your mom and dad have a friend who's an architect. So they can connect you with him. His name's John Visser, and he's in Fairview. So you write that down.
You're making connections.
Yeah, making some connections, just so you can see. You can get a sense of what he does, and okay, that's really interesting. Or oh my gosh, that's way more math than I want.
Yeah, but also me too. Math, no thanks. I'm good.
I like math.
Math is
your friend.
But in that's math. That's really hard math. Anyway, all right, moving on. One thing that we love to talk about, especially with our young adults, is what we like to call train up a child, which is kind of all about parents taking the responsibility and of finding what their children are good at and encouraging them and helping cultivate that. And my mom and my dad did that with me and my brothers. And I know that your parents are doing that with you guys. Can you speak a little bit to that and how they have encouraged you in your art and in all of the things that you want to pursue?
So whenever I finish a drawing and I show it to my parents, they're always like, whoa, that's so good, like parents should. And then they'll be like, hey, maybe you could improve on this or maybe this. And it's really helpful for me because then I can, work on that and get better. And also, just when I was little, they were like, here's all of these new things. Try them all.
Yes.
And so,
try all of these things and find what you are good at.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, you and I are very lucky to have parents that did that. That were very intentional about figuring out what their kids were good at and wanting to help them excel in that. And not just excel in it, but teach them how they can love others and show Jesus through those interests and those talents and those gifts. So you and I are very, very blessed. And we want to encourage parents who are listening to do the same.
Amen. Yep. Well, it's been very nice to see you and to to chat with you briefly today. I love that you did the spiritual gifts assessment.
Yes.
And that you have a, good
Good
sense.
job.
You said it. You said shepherding, mercy showing, and serving. And, those aren't even really words that we use in our regular language, right? So for you to identify those things, that's just kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we will, are you on social media at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, good choice.
Well, no, that's fine. I just didn't know if people could go see your work anywhere online. But someday in the future, they'll be able to see that or go buy it at an art gallery.
Yeah.
Very
Very
along
nice.
those lines. So. Anyway, but we're very grateful for your time today.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good day.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
For more information on Project Brickworks, visit us online at projectbrickworks.org. Subscribe to our newsletter or text BRICK to 55498 to get the latest news and updates. We love y'all. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time. Bye.